Settle in now. Let your body grow heavy where it rests. This is a story woven with the starlight of ages past, a journey not of hurried steps, but of soft, winding rivers. Let the sound of my voice be like a slow, deep breath. We are traveling to a land of rich earth and bright innovation, a place where civilization first took root. There is no rush. There is only peace. Feel your eyelids grow heavy as we begin our story of the Sumerians. Chapter 1. The Gift of the Twin Rivers. The sun has long set on the modern world, and here, in the quiet darkness, we drift back, far back, to a time before the pyramids, before the great walls of Troy, to a place cradled by water. Imagine, just for a moment, a vast, flat plain, warm and silent, a place we now call Mesopotamia, the land between the rivers. Let your mind paint this picture, slowly, softly. To the east, the Tigris River flows, a powerful, sometimes turbulent ribbon of silver under the moon. To the west, the Euphrates River, longer, slower, and gentler, curves its way toward the sea. These are the two great arteries of this ancient world, and they flow not with rushing urgency, but with the steady, quiet rhythm of life itself. Listen closely. Can you hear the soft, lapping sound of the water against the clay banks? Lap, lap, lap. It is here, in the southern part of this land, where the two rivers almost touch, that our story begins. This is Sumer. The ground here is not hard rock, but fine, silty earth, deposited year after year by the great spring floods. It is a mud so rich, so fertile, that the people who settled here called it the Black Land, a land of incredible potential. This was their greatest gift, the dark, moist soil that promised an abundant harvest. Feel the softness of that earth in your mind. It is cool. It is still. Now, imagine the first small settlements. They are not grand cities yet, just clusters of simple reed and mud brick huts. The people are working, but not with stress or haste. Their movements are slow, deliberate, tied to the predictable cycles of the water and the sun. Their first great act was a quiet collaboration with the rivers. They realized the water was a blessing, but sometimes too much. Imagine them using simple tools, shovels of wood, baskets woven from reeds. They are digging long, straight lines from the main river. These are the first irrigation canals. They're not grand feats of engineering yet, but simple, life-giving ditches that draw the precious water away from the river and onto the dry fields. Dig, pull, smooth. This work demanded togetherness. No single family could dig a canal long enough to feed them all. They had to learn to share the water, to maintain the ditches, to speak to one another not in anger or competition, but in cooperative agreement. This shared necessity was the true foundation of their civilization. It taught them order, planning, and community. As the canals grew longer, the harvests grew larger. Fields of barley and wheat stretched out like golden blankets under the warm sun. The people of Sumer, now well-fed, had time to think, time to dream. Time to build something more lasting than a simple hut. The surplus of food, the extra grain, meant that not everyone had to spend all day farming. Some could now dedicate their time to new things. A quiet revolution was beginning. One person could become a potter, shaping the clay from the riverbank into beautiful, sturdy jars for storage. Another could become a weaver, turning the soft wool of their sheep into warm cloth. The simple life was transforming into a specialized one, a world of interconnected roles. And as the sun dips lower in your mind's eye, Chapter 2, The Soft Clay Tablet and the Birth of Thought, drift now deeper into the peace of the Sumerian night. The sounds of digging have long faded. Only the soft chirping of crickets and the slow, steady current of the Euphrates remain. As the villages grew into towns, and the towns swelled into cities like Uruk, Ur, and Lagash, a new problem emerged, a gentle friction of too much prosperity. How could they keep track of everything? How many baskets of barley did the farmer give the weaver? How many sheep were traded for copper tools? The simple memory was no longer enough. The Sumerians, always practical, looked down at the soft, gray-brown clay of their land. It was everywhere. It was moldable. It was perfect. They took a small, damp lump of this river clay, rolling it into a small palm-sized tablet, and they took a sharp-edged reed called a stylus. Imagine holding that stylus. It is smooth, cool, and light. Instead of drawing pictures, which took too long, they began to press the stylus into the soft clay, making simple wedge-shaped marks, a straight line and a small wedge for a jar of oil, 3 parallel lines for 3 head of cattle. These marks were quick, efficient, and permanent once the clay was baked in the sun. This quiet, simple act was the birth of writing. They called it cuneiform, meaning wedge-shaped. Do not think of writing as a difficult, rushed chore. For the Sumerians, it was an act of profound calm and organization. Scribes, the people who mastered this new skill, would sit in quiet courtyards, their movements slow and measured. Press, lift, press, lift. Each mark was a deliberate, mindful placement of thought onto the earth itself. The earliest writings were lists. Lists of grain, lists of workers, lists of sheep. But soon the scribes began to use cuneiform for deeper, more beautiful purposes. They wrote stories of their great heroes, like Gilgamesh, the strong king who sought the secret of eternal life. Listen to the ancient echo of that name, Gilgamesh. They wrote down their laws, the first great legal code, which brought order and fairness to their bustling marketplaces. They wrote down their mathematical observations, developing a system based on the number 60. This is why we still divide the hour into 60 minutes, and the minute into 60 seconds. Sumerian wisdom still whispers in the turning of your clock. And perhaps most beautifully, the scribes wrote down their prayers and hymns, songs of praise for the mighty gods and goddesses who they believed watched over their cities. They believed the moon god, Nana, brought light to the darkness, and that his daughter, Inanna, the queen of heaven, watched over love and war. They saw the divine in the fertile waters and the bright stars. Their world was filled with meaning, a gentle, spiritual presence in every river bend and every field of grain. As you feel your own thoughts slow and become clearer, like the organized script on a clay tablet, recognize the quiet power of these people. They did not invent the wheel for chariots at first. They invented it for the potter's wheel, to turn the clay into perfect, symmetrical forms. They were seeking not speed, but perfection and order. The Sumerians were pioneers of the mind, using the humble gift of clay to build the first great library of human thought. Let the gentle weight of this knowledge settle over you, a quiet comfort, a sign that even the greatest revolutions can begin with a small, soft impression on a tablet of mud. Chapter 3: The Ziggurat and the Silent Watchers. As the cities grew, they did not sprawl outward randomly. They focused inward on a single, monumental structure, the ziggurat. Imagine a great step pyramid, not pointed like the Egyptian pyramids, but built of stacked, solid brick platforms, one receding from the other. Gaze up at the sheer scale of it, tall and wide, dominating the skyline. The ziggurat was not a tomb, but a holy mountain, a place for the people to feel closer to the heavens. Remember, the land of Sumer was flat, stretching endlessly toward the horizon. By building these magnificent towers, the Sumerians were creating their own link between the fertile earth and the distant star-filled sky. They built them layer by slow, steady layer, using millions of the same sun-baked bricks they used for their homes. Imagine the work, a rhythmic, shared labor. Place the brick, smooth the mud mortar, another brick. This was not work of a single day, but a patient effort spanning years, a constant reminder of their dedication to their city's protective deity. At the very top of the ziggurat, a small, quiet shrine sat, a private chamber for the priests. This was not a place for public gathering, but a secluded spot for the city's leaders to offer prayers, to watch the movements of the planets. The ziggurat represented the ultimate order, the base connected to the common people and the fields, the pinnacle reaching the sky and the wisdom of the gods. The whole city revolved around this sacred center. Around the base of the ziggurat was the temple complex. This was the heart of Sumerian commerce and administration. It housed the granaries where the surplus food was stored. It had the offices of the scribes who kept the city's complex accounts. The well-being of his people, not a divine ruler like later pharaohs. His power was in his ability to maintain the canals, keep the peace, and ensure the granaries were full. Now, as the moonlight illuminates the steps of the ziggurat, casting long, silent shadows, think of the astronomers. These priests sitting atop the high platform were among the first systematic sky watchers. They were not merely gazing at the stars. They were tracking them, charting their paths, recording their movements with painstaking detail on their cuneiform tablets. They invented the basic principles of astrology and astronomy together, seeking patterns and predictions in the cosmic dance. Look up with them now. See the brilliance of the ancient, unpolluted night sky. The slow, predictable movement of the constellations was a source of deep calm for them. It reminded them that even when life on Earth was chaotic, there was a vast, reliable order in the universe. They were silent observers, seekers of cosmic truth. This dedication to observation also led to great leaps in mathematics and geometry, necessary skills to track the stars and build perfect, square-based ziggurats. They were the original architects of civilization, building structures not just of mud and brick, but of quiet, mathematical precision. Let the silent watchfulness of the Sumerian astronomers fill your mind. Their ziggurats stand as a powerful symbol of human aspiration, a desire to be grounded in the good earth, while reaching steadily for the silent wisdom of the stars. You are safe. You are grounded. You are reaching for a peaceful sleep. Today, Chapter 4, Echoes in the Dark Earth. Our journey is drawing to a soft close. The Sumerian civilization, which flowered so brilliantly for thousands of years, eventually faded, not with a sudden crash, but a slow, quiet transformation. The great cities like Ur and Uruk were eventually challenged by others, the Akkadians from the north, who learned the Sumerian ways, adopted their cuneiform, and blended their cultures into a new empire. The names and the languages changed, but the foundations the Sumerians laid remained. Imagine the cities now, still standing, but growing quiet. The canals are still carrying water, but they are maintained by new hands speaking a slightly different tongue. The scribes still press the stylus into the clay, but the words they write are slowly evolving. The Sumerians' legacy did not vanish. It simply settled into the deeper layers of history, like the rich silt at the bottom of the Euphrates. What did they leave behind for us, these quiet pioneers of the Black Land? They left us the very concept of the city, a place where people of different trades live and work together, pooling their talents. They invented the wheel, the basis of all modern transport. They gave us writing, the vessel for all recorded history and knowledge. They gave us the hour, the minute, and the second, the very rhythm by which our modern lives are measured. They gave us the first great schools, where the children of the elite learned to master the delicate art of the stylus. They taught us that order is the prerequisite for peace, that cooperation makes the most difficult tasks possible, and that a deep, respectful connection to the earth and the sky is essential for a meaningful life. As you lie here, quiet and still, think of the silent, humble clay. It was the mud from the river that allowed them to build their walls, their homes, their ziggurats, and their first great literary works. From the simplest material came the greatest achievements. The dust of their ancient cities now covers the ground where they lived and dreamed. But if you listen closely, in the silence of the night, you can hear the faint, continuous echo of their accomplishments. It is the steady lap, lap, lap of the rivers they tamed. It is the silent press, lift of the first stylus writing a perfect cuneiform wedge. It is the patient, slow turning of the potter's wheel. All is peaceful. The ancient Sumerian city of Ur is silent beneath the moon. The stars, tracked by the priests, still move in their perfect, predictable courses above. Your journey is complete. You have traveled to the beginning of civilization, found its quiet wisdom, and brought its calm back with you. Let the final thoughts of the Sumerian scribes, thoughts of order, patience, and the flow of the gentle rivers, guide you now into a deep, unbroken rest. Sleep well. Sleep deeply. The earth holds you. The past is peaceful. Final fade out. Slow, deep breaths.